Good morning, guys. It's Monday morning, and what a show we had today. We talked about the rest stops for delivery drivers, which are going to be introduced in Dubai.
And we also spoke about Ebraheem al-Samadi's wedding that took place over the weekend. Massive congrats to him.
Shahir went deep into the stories, and the tea is phenomenal. Also, you can see Jupiter and Venus visible over the UAE for the next 3 weeks.
Which is a great date night idea. Just, go to a park, stargazing or planet gazing.
Love that so much.
And also we had Nawal
Benzaouia on the show, and she has a book that's just released for the UAE but also globally basically, and it's about a sister with Down syndrome, and it tells a story about celebrating diversity, and it's a fairy tale. It's beautiful. All of that coming up on the show this morning. Good morning, Dubai. Welcome back to the Lovin Dubai show. Our top stories for you today. Rest stops for delivery drivers will launch in Dubai.
and also Jupiter and Venus will be visible over the UAE for the next 3 weeks.
A massive congratulations to Dubai Bling's Ebraheem, who tied the knot on Friday night in Abu Dhabi.
And also Nawal Benzaouia pens children's book about her sister with Down syndrome. Such a lovely story.
Such a lovely story, and she's actually coming into the studio at about 8:50, 8:55. We're a little bit late this morning, but she's talking about this really important book. She wrote it for children and families who, so it's her sister who had Down syndrome. It's called Maya and Grace, The Tale of the Girl with No Hair. It's a really important book, and it sends across a really important message. So if you'd like to get your hands on it, she's brought 2 into the studio. If anyone's interested, just tag us and just say we'd like the book, and we'll get this to you. So if you're watching the show, do tag us in the comments as always. We love to see them, and we're going to get the story behind the book later in the show. Before we get to our top story, Shahir, thank you for jumping in.
Of course, no worries.
You're filling Simran's big shoes.
Well, are they that big? I think I've got bigger feet.
They're very glamorous, or Simran's.
They
shoes,
are
but
very
probably not that
glamorous.
big.
She has the Barbie vibes at times, so many different vibes. Simran brings the vibes first thing in the morning with her shoes.
But she'll be back tomorrow morning, as always, hopefully. But as always, Shahir is jumping in.
Got you guys.
He's usually behind the scenes, so we're so lucky to have him this morning, as we are lucky to have you guys. Thank you as always for tuning in on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and podcast. And we love to see your comments coming in. Thank you so much, social media from Brazil. Hugs to you too. We really appreciate you tuning in. And if you want to get the show after, it's always live on all of those feeds later on in the day.
And also in podcast form, in case you can't watch and your boss is like, hey, but what are you doing? You're like, oh, I'm listening to a podcast, news.
There you go, podcast format. Let's jump into our top story. Rest stops have been introduced for delivery drivers in Dubai. This is a big story that we broke yesterday on our feed on Instagram. So the number of delivery service companies in Dubai in 2022 was 2,891. Delivery driver services. You see them on the roads. You know it's a big business.
You appreciate them.
You appreciate them. Do we appreciate them enough? There's a question. So there's also recording a growth rate of delivery drivers, 48% compared to 2021. So it's a growing business. And with that, we need to grow the infrastructure around it. And that's what the RTA are doing. So they're literally our heroes. And during their job, they work in sandstorms, they work in rain, they work in soaring heat conditions, which of course we acknowledge during the summer. So having a place to sit and rest during these times in particular is vital. And so the RTA, they're calling on UAE business communities to work together in a bid to construct new rest stops across key areas in Dubai for delivery drivers.
So the project aims to provide basic services for delivery drivers such as maintenance, refueling, rest areas, restaurants, and the station will be situated in 3 really important locations. So this will include Sheikh Zayed Road near Festival Plaza. The second will be at Port Said next to Al Muraqabat Street 22, and the third will be at Ras Al Khor Industrial Area 2 close to Al Manama Street.
Now, by launching this project, the RTA aims to make delivery drivers happier by providing the basic services they need, such as maintenance, refueling, rest areas, and restaurants. So it's not just a kind of like a pit stop. There's going to be a lot of facilities there for the drivers. And at these facilities, the RTA will provide educational material about safety and quality regulation. Hadn't thought about it. Much needed. Brilliant initiative by the RTA.
1000%, especially with summer coming along. Like, I know it's just March, but it really, really is getting hotter. And these things are neat. Like they do the absolute most for us. They come in with a smile on their faces. So, just acknowledging what needs to be done. Like I've only needed taxis, especially like the last week, and the positive attitude, you appreciate that. So small things, and with just like summer, especially, like walking to your car is already excruciatingly hot. So let alone like dealing with the circumstances of Mother Nature all day long.
Exactly. And had we thought about I certainly hadn't thought about in harsh weather, where are drivers going? Obviously, they'll have their depot where they leave their bike, but that's going to be in one location in Dubai. This will be 3 key areas across the city where all drivers will be able to go to. And as we said, it's not just a rest area. There'll be restaurants, there'll be maintenance information, there'll be tips and rules from the RTA that it's a basic place to go. Super great initiative. One person said actually, hope there'll be water. Yes, there'll be water. People had questions. There'll be water. There'll be food. One person said, which I thought was genius, can they get their own lane, driving lane?
That's actually genius.
Yeah, that's a genius question.
Because like we don't necessarily have like motorbike
lanes.
routes. Yeah, exactly. Or even bike lanes in general. There are areas where that's provided, but it's the Middle East, like the roads are different.
Exactly, they're different. It could come in future. It's one thing we hadn't really thought about, the fact that there's no bus lanes here and that could essentially be a road for the drivers as well. I know how conscious I am as a relatively new driver about bikers on the road.
Yeah.
They just come out of nowhere, and I'm so conscious of like, even when when there's a biker behind me or there's a biker in front of me, I'm 5 times more aware, and I'm not sure why. Like I know I'll keep the same distance between a car and a bike, but for some reason I'm more concerned if it's a delivery driver.
I know what you
and then
mean.
if they're right behind me, I'm like, oh, I need to make sure I'm giving them loads of space and all of that. I don't know if that's just me being conscious or...
Nope, I get it. Like, so on the way here today, there was major traffic, and with bikes especially, they can like, not slither necessarily, but like make their way through the traffic easier than cars can, of course. But just like switching lanes and all these small things, you have to be super cautious of people on bikes in general.
And this initiative is basically brought about because of the massive growth in the delivery driver industry. We gave the numbers there at the beginning of the segment, and as we know, we're a delivery city. We get it morning, noon and night, everything from our cosmetics to our food to our groceries. Everything can be delivered at the drop of a hat, and this is a great innovation initiative to make sure that drivers are more comfortable on the roads.
Yep, well said, Casey. So moving on to our second story. Out of this world, some might say. So Jupiter and Venus will be visible over the UAE for the next 3 weeks. So if you're wondering what those bright objects are in the sky, it's not me and it's not Casey. So it's during sunset mostly. Don't worry, it's not aliens either. It's just good old Jupiter and Venus. So these 2 planets are stars of the show, illuminating bright and appearing within eyeshot in the UAE residents can see for the next 3 weeks.
Have you seen them?
No, I haven't.
You haven't seen them?
No, so 7 p.m. No, I haven't. So 7 p.m.'s like prime time to see.
No, it's this kickoff. So like as it gets dark from sunset, they'll kind of be a little bit visible.
Yeah.
And then as it gets to, I don't know what the darkest point of the evening is, then they'll be the most visible later on in the evening. Is anyone watching? Have you guys seen someone's saying fix your mic on Instagram? Can you let us know which person and we can try and fix it?
Right.
We're actually a little bit short on team today, so let us know. You guys can be our team too. Let us know which mic is broken.
Thanks, guys. These small things are highly appreciated.
Let us know and we'll try and fix it during the show. And if it's broken on Instagram, you can jump onto Facebook and Twitter
and YouTube.
On YouTube where we have
TikTok.
our top show. But let us know if you've seen Jupiter and Venus. I know a lot of people were stargazing this weekend, and you may even think like it's a plane or it's a satellite or aliens or a satellite or aliens. You don't know what it's going to be because they're shining so bright at the moment. Besides the sun and the moon, which you're obviously going to expect to see. And get this, they're so close to the Earth, you don't need a telescope. So if you look out at night and there isn't too much kind of like cloud cover, they're stunning. Venus is even brighter than Jupiter because it's closer.
No way. So what I learned from this story is I didn't know about this until this morning, right? So that just goes to show you don't pay attention to all these small things and all these details. Guys, look at the sky more often. You know, like you might not be able to see stars necessarily, but what more can you ask for than beautiful globes in the sky?
Exactly.
So basically, NASA also confirmed by tweeting, attention sky gazers, witness Venus and Jupiter hanging out like two peas in a pod at twilight. Catch the pair above the western horizon during sunset and just a little bit after.
So if you have time this weekend, it's going to be visible for 3 weeks in total, and it's pretty spectacular. So whether or not you can visit from your house or go out to the beautiful desert that we are able to call home, which we're so lucky for, and check it out there, it's going to be stunning. Let's jump into our next story. Dubai Bling's I'm going to start that again. Dubai Bling's Ebraheem tied the knot on Friday night. The man behind the Forever Rose and founder of Forever Love, and it's too gorgeous to ignore this story. Ebraheem Al Samadi, who is one of the key cast members on the viral show Dubai Bling, which not just grabbed your attention but grabbed the world's attention, announced his marriage on Instagram on Saturday morning with some beautiful interior pictures.
Congratulations.
Mabruk.
Ali's also clapping at the back, so he's been very careful not to reveal his wife's face. But does this mean that we'll have another cast member in season 2 of Dubai Bling? Only time will tell. The wedding took place at Rixos Premium on Saudia Island in AD and has many other cast members from the show too. Although I noticed that Zena wasn't there. Oh.
Yeah, there was a few not there. Nina Ali was not there. I don't think Caroline Stanbury was there.
Also, the wedding decor was stunning, clearly inspired by his Forever Rose Cafe in Box Park. Box Park. It was organized by Ebraheem himself, so no surprise there, and it was absolutely mesmerizing.
It was one for the books, for sure. The wedding was attended by influencers. We saw Mona Katan, who, yes, is confirmed for Dubai Bling Season 2. Farhana Bodhi was there, so most of our images came from her own Instagram.
Yeah.
And even LJ looked phenomenal in a gorgeous pink
sequency.
Oh, my days. She looked phenomenal. Modern. As always, she's so stylish. But that was the Dubai Bling. Now, lots of comments coming through about the nature of the wedding. Can we just say, we reported that he got married. A lot of people reported got married because Farhana Bodhi was like, I'm going to Ebraheem's wedding. She was like, I'm at Ebraheem's wedding. Nina Ali said, she posted a picture being like, congratulations on your wedding, Ebraheem. I'm sorry I'm not there. Let's just bear in mind that they're all part of a reality show that they're currently filming for. So until we actually see it, let's just hold back our judgment on what the wedding is about, right?
Like, that's the thing. This is something that you want on reality show, not for the sake of it being a reality show, because memories, you know? This is your own wedding footage, and you're sharing with the world, and it's very generous at the same time to share that part, because a lot of reality shows in general, they don't show these like not small, major details, but they hide parts of their lives. But yeah, I can't wait for season 2 because there's more in store.
So Diva D was there, by the way. DJ Bliss was there. I didn't know Ebraheem Al Samadi was Emirati.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know.
I was surprised there. It's also the dancers have so many different forms of dancers in general. You know, there was a lot of culture. There was a lot of thought put into it. Even like the table decor, like it had like nods to his businesses and culture in general. Like there was a lot of Arabic calligraphy. It was amazing. You
went deep.
Yeah.
You know, when you see a story, how much did you pour over these? That's deep.
He had so many stories posted, so I spent the time, you know. I was super happy for him. Like, I don't know, it's such a milestone in life.
And so in all the pictures, people are saying, oh, it looks like he got married to himself, but that would be quite traditional to not show the bride's face, right?
Yeah, like it's a part of the culture. So many of my friends got married or went to weddings, and you can see on the stories, like, it cuts off like the top half, just out of respect and out of privacy, because not everyone wants to share that part to the rest of the world anyway. But it's also more so cultural, out of respect for both the man and the woman getting married.
And I think that's really important to note because, as we know, as we said at the beginning of the segment, Dubai Bling is being watched by people around the world, so they may not understand why the bride wasn't seen in the pictures, because it's all Ebraheem, of course, but it's a cultural reason, and it's very common to not see the pictures of the bride.
Yeah.
Guys, we know we have an issue on Instagram that we're going to try and fix, but stay tuned. We're going to be joined by Nawal, Benzaouia, who's penned a children's book about her sister with Down syndrome. It's a really beautiful story. Stay tuned. She's going to be with us right after we fix our Instagram mics. Welcome back to the Lovin Dubai show. We're now joined by an author who wrote the first children's book about two sisters, one of whom has Down syndrome, and it was inspired by her relationship with her own sister. Welcome to the show, Nawal, Benzaouia. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you to you to inviting me.
Not at all. So this is a book. We're going to get into it that you've written. But first of all, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself and how you came to write this book?
Okay, so basically I have a little sister with Down syndrome and with no hair. And through my life, a lot of people made fun of her. They call her monster. And every time when I was working with her, they say, oh my God, look at this girl. She has no hair. She's quite weird. She doesn't walk like us. And it's really affected me because for me, my sister didn't look any different because I didn't really know that she has Down syndrome. So basically through my life, I just understood that if people were thinking that she looks like a monster, it's because they don't know what is Down syndrome. We don't really educate them. We don't really tell them who are people of determination, what kind of disability they can have. So I believe that education is really important. And I wanted to show in my book that a sister can be with Down syndrome and can do a lot of things also.
It's really nice. Can you give everyone who's watching today just a little bit of background? What is Down syndrome?
So basically, Down syndrome is a genetic condition. You have one chromosome in the 21 pair, and it can be associated to other kind of disability. In the case of my sister, she had a leukemia, and then she lost all her hair. That's why today she's with no hair. And there is no typical people with Down syndrome because everyone is unique and different. Some of them can go to the university, some of them can read and write, but for my sister it's quite different because she couldn't do all of that.
So, and when you were growing up, is there anything that you wished you knew about Down syndrome? You know, this book didn't exist and we want to educate people today. So when you were growing up, it was a different time. What do you wish you knew about Down syndrome then?
I wish that I knew that people with Down syndrome can do everything and they shouldn't be treated as someone different. I wish that I knew that it's a condition, but it doesn't mean that life is not really accessible for them and we can build things. I wish that at school we didn't only teach us about the genetic condition, but also about how we can adapt and how our environment can adapt to people with Down syndrome.
So at what point did you decide that writing a book was the best way to educate people?
To be honest, it's a funny story because I love to read. I have plenty of books at home, and I realized that all of these books, and especially illustrated book, there is no book that have a character like looks my sister. So one day I start to draw and to talk to my sister, and I contacted an illustrator and I just asked him, oh, can you draw my sister? Then the first illustration come up. And through my life I live a lot of adventure, as I like to call them, and I always have a notebook with me. So I start to write stories that I can live with my sister and all the adventure and make it as a fairy tale. And then I just said, okay, maybe it's time to write a book. And my friend pushed me, and my husband also. They were like, Nawal, you're always writing a lot of things in your notebook. It has to be alive at some point.
Wow. Yeah.
And then I just showed the first illustration to my little sister, and the first thing that she said is, thank you. So it really touched me, and I felt like, okay, now I'll just have to continue. So I sent my manuscript to publishing house, and they just loved it. So then the story began.
Amazing, because what I love about this book is it's not an obvious educational piece, which obviously it is in the background, but it's at the heart of it, it's a fairy tale.
Yes.
So tell us about the fairy tale.
So basically, the two sisters are living in the Mushi kingdom, and their parents forbade them to go outside the castle. But one day, the parents, who are the poor, decided to go to find a cure for Grace, the little sister with Down syndrome, and they didn't come back. So after a few years being in the castle, the two sisters decided to go out of the castle. And this is where their adventure starts. They are going on their way to the Sierra forest and meeting animals, people, and all individual has difference, and they are learning about all of these animals.
It's amazing. I love how when you said you showed it to your sister, she said thank you. When did you launch, and what's the general reaction of the public been like since you brought it to the people?
It's been less than a month that it had been launched officially, and most of the time they are let's say the people that are close to me are very surprised and already organized my sister, whereas the other one didn't feel any different. They're like, oh, the sister are having beautiful adventure. In the book there is a story about a wolf without arms, and I have people saying, oh my God, this story is so touchy. It reminds me this and that. It reminds me when I first met one people of determination in a wheelchair, and I thought that it couldn't not do a lot of things. And yes, basically people are quite happy, and I'm also very surprised because the stories inside that I loved are not people's favorite, actually.
Really?
It's the complete opposite. They're like, okay, Nawal, we love the story with the wolf. Or I have also plenty of kids that are texting me on Instagram, or they are saying, oh, actually I met a girl without hair, and because of Grace, now I know that it's normal and it can happen.
Amazing. And writing it, did you come across any kind of, challenges writing about people with Down syndrome? Was there any difficulties along the way before you were able to publish it?
Let's say that the difficulty, in my book, I didn't want to mention that the little girl Grace is with Down syndrome. So the difficulty was to touch kids and to let them understand that the difference of various kind of disability without mentioning it. Because as you said, it's a fairy tale. I know that most of the time when we try to read a book that can educate us on many topics, it can be boring for kids because, their attention and they are more going toward fairy tales, toward animals. So this was the challenge.
It's beautiful. It's a fairy tale celebrating diversity.
Yes, exactly.
And it's an amazing story for kids all over the world should be able to read it. How can people get in touch with you if they have any comments, and how can they buy the book?
They can buy it. They can find it on Amazon. It's available, and it's also, they can just write Maya and Grace, the tale of the girl with no hair. And if they want to get in contact with me, they just can contact me through my Instagram, or I will be available.
It's so important that you've written this book. And when I was reading about the background notes, it's the first ever book that's written?
Yes.
Which is amazing.
Because most of the time we have books talking about Down syndrome and not the story of the sister, so the sibling point of view.
Exactly.
Or what. Because sometimes we are a bit left in the corner. We forgot about us. We are talking about the parents, or the struggle is difficult, but what about us? What about the siblings? Because being with an individual with Down syndrome and seeing misconception of disability are in the daily life, so we forgot about siblings. And we have also a lot of things to say. So yes, it's the first book talking about a little girl with Down syndrome without hair, and also about the point of view of her sister.
So interesting, and it's so important. So if parents can consider the siblings as well,
Yes.
it's such an important topic. So thank you so much for writing
Thank
the book
you.
and bringing it here with us today. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you for your time, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk about this fairy tale.
Not at all, guys. A beautiful fairy tale. That is all we have time for in the Lovin Dubai show today. That was Nawal Benzaouia. Really appreciate your time, and we'll see you tomorrow morning, same time, same place. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
This show is brought to you by the Augustus Media Podcast Network. Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed it.